Amazon is now following the lead of SpaceX and Trader Joe's in attempting to get the National Labor Relations Board declared unconstitutional.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Let's jump into our first segment this week. Last week in Southern Labor, we take a look at what workers in the U.S. South and the American colonies were up to. Here's what they were up to from February 9th to the 16th. In new campaigns, 2 workers at Consolidated Nuclear Security in Amarillo, Texas, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Metal Trades Council of Amarillo, Local 306. They are affiliated with OPEIU and IAM. Workers, likely pushed by their employer, filed a petition to decertify the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW, as the union representing 6 workers at Everon, a security company in Knoxville, Tennessee. 52 workers at SP Plus Corporation in St. Rose, Louisiana, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Amalgamated Transit Union, ATU, Local 1535. The employer filed a petition to hold a union election after a majority of the 16 workers at Starbucks in Miami, Florida, demonstrated support for unionization with Starbucks Workers United. 130 workers at Transdev Services in Arlington, Virginia, filed a petition to hold a union election with ATU Local 689. 3 workers at Valero Refining Company in Memphis, Tennessee, filed a petition to hold a union election with the United Steelworkers, USW. 80 workers at Cargill in Reserve, Louisiana, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Teamsters, Local 270. 95 workers at Tensar Corporation, an infrastructure company in Morrow, Georgia, filed a petition to hold a union election with the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union, RWDSU. In election results, 3 petitions were withdrawn last week. One was a raid on the National Association of Special Police and Security Officers bargaining unit at Allied Security in Washington, D.C. by the Protective Service Officers United. A petition to hold a union election with the IBEW Local 2 among the 9 workers at Como Electric Cooperative in Tipton, Missouri, and a petition to hold a union election with the International Alliance of Theatrical and Stage Employees, IATSE, among the 12 workers at Hairspray on Tour in Fort Myers, Florida. In a pretty quick turnaround, 7 workers at Wells Fargo in Virginia Beach, Virginia, who filed a petition to hold a union election on January the 16th, voted on February the 8th unanimously in favor of unionization with Wells Fargo Workers United, a CWA affiliate, with the results being certified on February the 16th. So only a month between filing and election result certification. That's a timeline you did not used to see, but is the result of General Counsel Abruzzo's changes to board policy with respect to elections. So very good news, and we're seeing more and more short election timelines like that, making it easier for workers to organize. 16 workers at Starbucks in New Orleans, Louisiana, voted 12-4 in favor of unionization with Starbucks Workers United. 17 workers at HCI Integrated Solutions in Fort Bliss, Texas, voted 14-3 in favor of unionization with the International Union of Operating Engineers, IUOE Local 351. We told you a while back that the petition to hold a union election at the Texas Tribune with the News Guild CWA was withdrawn. That is because the workers at the Texas Tribune announced last week they received voluntary recognition. So very excited to hear that. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. In strikes and bargaining updates, 420 members of Teamsters Local 997 began a strike this morning at Molson Coors on Saturday, citing the company's refusal to present a fair offer, so far making an offer of only less than $1 an hour raise. Negotiations opened between the Communication Workers of America, CWA, and Altus USA, a telecommunications company, on a new contract. The current 4-year contract covering workers from Beckley to Logan, West Virginia, is set to expire on April 25th. Alaska Air flight attendants voted to authorize a strike in an absolutely wild number. About 84% participated in the vote.
No, 94%.
Yeah, 94% participated in the vote, with 99.48 voting in favor of a strike authorization. So that sends a very powerful message to Alaska Airlines. After unionizing with UFCW Local 400, farmers market workers in D.C., Virginia, and Maryland who work for Fresh Farm have a contract that includes a $20 an hour minimum wage, a premium for speaking a second language, and vacation time for seasonal employees for the first time ever. U.S. Senator for Alabama Tommy Tuberville derided the idea of college football unionization, saying that college sports is, quote, about learning experiences, not about making money, unquote. Meanwhile, after accepting $5 million in public money from Alabama to quit his former job as Auburn head coach, he still collects a pension from Auburn that is higher than the median salary in the state of Alabama. Ford CEO, vampire, lizard person, etc., Jim Farley had hinted last week at the threat of outsourcing work after the UAW strike, making it all the more important and impactful that the UAW also won, in addition to all of the economic benefits, the right to strike over investment decisions and plant closures. Speaking of strikes, UAW Local 862, representing 9,000 workers at Ford's Kentucky truck plant, issued a strike notice over failure to come to an agreement on the local agreement over specifically health and safety provisions. In politics and legislation, AFL-CIO President Schuler and AFGE President Kelly are both attacking the proposed, quote, fiscal commission on Social Security for what it is, a scam meant to cut benefits for working people. A coalition of 7 labor unions representing 9 million workers, the UAW, SEIU, AFA-CWA, UE, IUPAT, APWU, the NEA, and NNU, formed the National Labor Network for Ceasefire to put action towards working people's demands for justice in Palestine. A coalition of unions and community groups in Durham, North Carolina, UE Local 150, the Duke Graduate Workers Union, the Union of Southern Service Workers, and more, are holding a forum and discussion on Palestine today and what it has to do with our day-to-day fights on the job. An Alabama State Senate committee approved a bill to remove the requirement for schools to sign off on 14 and 15-year-olds having a job. It now moves to the full Senate. The Alabama Supreme Court made a decision on Friday determining that embryos at IVF clinics are persons under Alabama's Wrongful Death Act. A Florida Senate committee unanimously passed a bill that would allow 16 and 17-year-olds on construction sites that they had previously been barred from for safety concerns. And yes, that includes 2 Democrats. The bill now goes to the full Senate. Georgia's state Senate voted in favor of a bill that would bar companies that accept state incentives from voluntarily recognizing their workers' union. CWA members protested the proposed legislation. Amazon is now following the lead of SpaceX and Trader Joe's in attempting to get the National Labor Relations Board declared unconstitutional. And finally, in internal union affairs, bad news keeps coming from the Teamsters, with the latest being that Brian Kelly, a lawyer at a high-priced law firm that engages in union busting for companies and who is currently representing Donald Trump in a case to keep Trump off the ballot in Massachusetts, has reportedly been working for Sean O'Brien in some capacity for over a year. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.